What can you tell about someone by looking at their shoes? Hotter Shoes are the UK's biggest shoe manufacturer. Their factory opened in 1959 and they've been making comfortable, fashionable shoes to their exacting standards ever since. But as fashion becomes more disposable and tastes change more quickly, what does that mean for a company that's steeped in tradition and builds products to last? We took a walk to the Hotter factory to find out.
There are two things that have made Hotter a success. The first is an absolute single-minded obsession about comfort. And the second is really knowing and understanding our customer so that we can provide footwear that she really wants and she really needs and really helps with some of the foot issues that she might have. These are so comfortable. You want to just bounce around in a pair of these. Customers tell us about an experience when they first try our footwear. They experience something that they describe as a Hotter moment. And the Hotter moment is getting that shoe on your foot and absolutely for the first time experiencing what comfort underfoot really feels like. And that to them is very much the Hotter moment. So at Hotter, we've developed something called the comfort concept, which basically is a set of secret ingredients that we put into every pair of shoes that we make. Essentially, they're about flexibility. So all of our shoes are super flexible. They're really light because the soles are made up of tiny, hundreds and thousands of tiny little air bubbles to really create that soft foot cushioning underneath the foot. All of our linings are breathable. We use leather, padded insoles, padded collars, and we design our shoes to have a slightly deeper toe box, which allows the toes room to wriggle at the end. So again, every single element of the design of the shoe is done to think about the fit of the consumer, but also to design lots of comfort elements into the shoe.
It's through our call centre that our business model really started to take off, through the mail order and the catalogue route, and across the course of the year we send out over 10 million pieces of paper to different consumers across the UK, the US and other international markets. We keep investing in it because we believe in the power of customer service, so we've recently invested several £100,000 to make the operation as slick as possible and the environment as nice as possible for our advisors. Technology is always moving in this space, and we are moving to a place for the contact centre where, as well as voice, which is on the telephone, we're servicing her through web chat.
Online is playing a far greater role. The business that we do currently with our sort of key accounts, the likes of Debenhams, Amazon, House of Fraser, is online. And so that's where the opportunity for growth clearly is. And one of the models that we've recently launched at Hotter is a direct dispatch model, which essentially that the consumer can order our product via the third-party website, and then that order gets sent through to us and we dispatch that product straight out to the consumer's door directly from our factory here in Skelmersdale.
We are starting to see consumers harness the power of digital, whether it's in a mobile phone, on a tablet or on the computer desktop itself. And that's where we're seeing our real growth. On each individual day, we will attract over 100,000 website visits. And it's growing very, very fast indeed.
I think the stats for demographic growth is something like by 2040 there's going to be over 2 billion people globally in that older space, which is the first time in history that there'll be more older people than teenagers. So it really is a swelling demographic, and that's absolutely where the brand is positioned in the older market.
The factory's working 24 hours a day, 5 days a week. The warehouse is working 7 days a week, 24 hours a day. Just 1 minute, where are we going? Okay, so they're going off for retail replenishment. So they're replenishing store orders that have been sold yesterday. So we routinely are making shoes in 1 day from the point at which we last them to the point at which we dispatch them to the customer. Nobody else is doing that. This is a world-class operation.
I think the temptation was there a decade or two back, you know, where you could move your manufacturing out to the Far East and get incredibly competitive labour. I know that a number of brands are, you know, thinking about moving away from the Far East because of the rising costs. Where you have an opportunity to manufacture in the UK, it is competitive if you do it properly. The skill set has been lost in some industries because it's been so many years since products have been manufactured in the UK, and that's one of the benefits as Hotter has been able to capitalise on, because they've kept the skill set, they've kept the experience and the training, and so they've been able to, you know, to continue manufacturing in the UK and do it profitably.
The point about this factory is it's incredibly flexible. We need to make 20,000 pairs of sandals this week. In 2 weeks' time, we'll be starting to think about autumn production. So we need to move the factory from making sandals into making more shoes and boots. And that's why a UK factory not only can be cost competitive, but it can be very agile. You can't get that agility by buying shoes from India or China. You can only get that agility by making them here, in the factory, next door to the warehouse, next door to the design department. And that agility is another reason why this factory has survived and prospered and is now growing fast.
If you can continue to produce products in the UK, then that gives you a really exciting edge over a number of your competitors, probably no matter what marketplace you're in.
I think a lot of our footwear competitors are focusing on a wider audience, and so they're catering for footwear from 25-year-olds through to 65-year-olds, or they're focusing on the younger end of the market, where comfort is not necessarily as key and important as it is for the older demographic.
No, I do not believe that British manufacturing is dead. What you see here at Hotter is a shining example that British manufacturing is alive and well and being done very successfully.